Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Couch GMs Podcast. It is Thursday, January 8th, 2025. I'm your host, George Kurt, joined by the one and only Cody Roadcap. How you doing, Cody?
I'm doing good, but I'm not the exciting part.
You're not? Are you
Nope.
sure?
Not today.
I'm excited to see you.
No one else is.
As Cody hinted at the end of our Monday episode and is trying to get me to go to now. With us today, maybe the most famous person we've had on this show. We got writer, performer, producer, co-host of Good News York, and host of Good News York Sports. Mike Brindisi is with us.
What?
Mike.
I am clutching my pearls. That is the nicest intro. I do not consider myself famous, but you know what? I'll roll with it. Thank you, man. That's very sweet.
Of course. I mean, we've had the fantasy Godfather on here, and if you try to put him into the Godfather movie kind of thing, maybe you can say, but no, he's not.
No,
he's good at fantasy football, but he is not in the Godfather movies. Let's not get carried away.
Dude, I'm so happy to be here. I got to tell you, I was deciding what to wear, like a chick getting ready for a date. I'm like, do I wear the Josh Allen Wyoming jersey? I want to impress them. I could have wore the Billy the Buffalo hat. I didn't do it. I'm just here. I'm repping Good News York. I'm happy to be here, guys. Thank you for having me.
No, of course. And just so anyone else knows, I threw on a hoodie right before I stepped to my computer. I didn't think about it at all. And that's kind of what I rolled with. George, what's your outfit attire? Black shirt? Can't go wrong with a black shirt.
Literally just black shirt. Not even in my home studio. We're just rolling with it here.
Yeah, I had that moment where you remember how back in the 90s it was like you don't wear the t-shirt of the band whose concert you're going to. I had a moment where I was like, do I maybe if I wear sports stuff, is that kind of the same if I'm going on a sports podcast? I don't know. Either way, here I am.
None of us wearing any sports on what might be the best sports weekend. Not even NFL football. You got the college games back and forth, 5 straight days of incredible matchups. So maybe we all drop the ball a little bit.
Yeah, hell, he's got the mug. He's good. Yeah.
Oh, way to show us up, Mike. Way to show us up. I think he might have froze quick, but I think, George, you can do the little bit of housekeeping, and then we can get into more of our conversation.
Cool. Make sure you're following us at the Couch GMs, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok to give you more than you do from the show here. You can always DM us with any questions you have or drop them in the comments live Mondays and Thursdays at 6:30 East on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I was going to have Mike also be able to plug his stuff. We'll make sure he throws his handles into the show when we get him back here. In the meantime, while we're waiting for him, why don't we jump in and see what's happening? Okay, I thought we were going to start what's happening with the John Harbaugh news, and we still can, but I also wanted to put out today, the Dolphins decided to fire Mike McDaniel out of nowhere, seemingly. He was in on the GM search there in Miami, and we did not know that he was even in danger of losing his job still until this morning. They come out there and just say we parted ways.
Yeah, this one's interesting, and I'd love to hear Mike's feedback. Hopefully we get him back here in a second, too, because he's obviously, you saw the mug right before he froze. He's a Bills fan in that division, probably pays a little bit more attention to the AFC. But the Mike McDaniel thing is interesting because it felt like he was safe. Then he got let go. And I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but the kind of how I feel about it is Harbaugh gets let go. The owner has a relationship with Harbaugh. I feel like there's already might have been a handshake deal. And again, I'm just to do with podcast, not reporting anything. And then okay, we'll bring you in, but we're going to let go of Mike McDaniel. Or the other option is you mentioned the GM. Rumors is they want to get a GM hired before the end of this week so that they're ready to go on this coaching search. Maybe they're because they announced their final 4 who was doing second interviews. Maybe none of them wanted Mike McDaniel, and they're going to let the GM have some say. So I think it's one of those two options, but it still feels a little bit timely on how this all went down.
It kind of put him behind the ball because they had a chance to be interviewing candidates beforehand, unless, like you said, they were trying to get the GM in place before. Maybe there's a chance that their favorite few GM candidates didn't want to move forward McDaniel, and they just realized, well, if we're going to get one of these guys, he's not going to be here. That's possible too.
Yeah, and I'm not too worried about we're missing out on time. Like, it is only Thursday. Monday was the day a lot of these guys, like, I'm not worried about putting yourself, quote unquote, behind the 8 ball for 2 or 3 days. So that doesn't bother me. They've been looking for a GM for a while because they fired him mid-season. I do think it makes it interesting now, though, because I had pointed this out. We were talking in our group chat with the Tylers, I guess is the best way to put it for the longtime listeners, about the different coaching positions and stuff like that over the course of the day. And the Falcons were the only one that had a double opening. The rest were keeping the GM, but now you have another situation here. So, but I think our guest is back, so I'm gonna pull him back in here. Hopefully, we got him. How you doing, Mike?
Dude, I tell you what, if this happens again, I'm gonna just switch and do it on my phone. I don't know what's going on over here, but I apologize greatly.
It's all good. I promise you. George mentioned we had to go to break for like 5 minutes to fix some things. I've literally kicked my desk and dropped the power strip out and completely went dark. So
Good.
this is not a high quality production. We roll with the airs and we have a good time. But we're talking about the Dolphins firing Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
We saw the Bills mug. What are your thoughts on that move?
Well, was it really out of nowhere? Because in my opinion, I thought this should have happened a long time ago. Head coaches are the front door of your franchise, right? And when you're funny and you're quirky like Mike McDaniel, it's great when you're winning. It's like with Keon Coleman with the Bills. But when you're not winning, the quirkiness, your tolerance for it kind of runs out. The guy's sitting there at some of these press conferences, and it's like, this guy should be selling vapes at a bodega. Like, what is going on? I honestly thought that Tua's comments were going to keep McDaniels there longer. There was a while where Tua was kind of, airing dirty laundry at all these press conferences. And I thought, maybe the GM will say, maybe Tua is part of the issue, and let's keep this guy here a little bit longer and see what he can do, with another quarterback. Look, coordinators are not always good coaches, and vice versa. I mean, look at Josh McDaniels, right? The guy is probably the greatest offensive coordinator, or one of the greatest offensive coordinators of all time. He can't coach himself out of a paper bag anywhere else. Being a play call, you know what I mean? Like, being a play caller, we all hear about this. Like, you need an offensive guru. You need someone that can call, great plays. That's just a very small part of coaching. Look at Sean McDermott or Kyle Shanahan. They're leaders of men. For all the faults you could give Sean McDermott, he makes up for it in the way he has that team prepared every week. He's got the respect of that locker room. And let's be honest, McDaniels, he's only beat the Bills twice. He's struggled versus winning teams. He doesn't adapt to good defenses. There was players going on record. You remember when players were going on record saying, like, why are we running HN on the goal line so much? He's not a power back. And I get it. Like, he had that 70-point game against Denver, and he's had other flashes of brilliance, but then he probably went in the locker room after that and was like, hey man, you can't throw margarine at a bus and expect to get butter. And everyone's like, what? You know what I mean? The guy's just, I want to go to a DMB concert with Mike McDaniels. I want to smoke weed, and I want to talk in depth about Carter Buford's impact on the band, but I don't want him leading my team. That's the bottom line.
I got that. I have 2 follow-up questions for that. One, I think McDaniels is a great time. The NFL memes is already put out. When he started, he was the Best Buy employee. They showed up his headshot when he first started, and then this year he was the drug pin in South Florida. So
yeah,
they're already, the memes are already rolling for that one. But back to him specifically, I saw the Lions have already reached out to him about coming in to be the offensive coordinator. As a Packers fan, I would hate that. I think him being with that offense, he could get out of what Jared Goff. He would have Dan Campbell to balance out the quirkiness. I think that would be a really good fit. Hopefully he gets a head coaching job, just because I don't want him in our division. because I respect him as a play caller.
You know what? That is a great call. I've heard all these different landing spots. That honestly might make the most sense because I don't like to believe that a coordinator gets hired somewhere else and then the team's going to fall apart over a coordinator. But I will tell you what, there was clear-cut evidence that the Detroit Lions were not the same offense without Ben Johnson. And it's no surprise that all of a sudden the Chicago Bears look like they do, right? So clearly Ben Johnson was a huge part of that. He's so innovative and so cutting edge that I don't know who you could replace in Detroit that could even come close to filling those shoes. I think you're right.
Man, I'm an Eagles fan, and Kellen Moore, I miss Kellen more than I ever thought I would as an Eagles fan. So they just right there, a coordinator can make a big difference.
It can. And, one of the for lack of a better term, showcases of a Mike McDaniel's offense is the running game. He believes in a strong running game that will open up the passing game. And I mean, you give him Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, Cody, you better run for the hills.
I know that it would be scary for sure. I don't know if they're going to keep David Montgomery. He's been throwing out some of those cryptic messages that he might be done because of getting the split and stuff like that. But that's the same thing you talked about. When you're winning, everything is going great. You don't mind splitting the backfield. You don't. We don't make the playoffs this year. Maybe he comes a little bit disgruntled. Maybe they'll work it out. If they want to get rid of one of those, obviously they're not getting rid of Gibbs. They want to let go of Montgomery. I won't complain there.
Did you hear that McDaniels is being considered, or did you just is that a take that you kind of?
I believe I saw it on Twitter. I don't know if Rappaport or Schefter, one of them, threw it out there that they have talked about it. They also said he might get some head coaching options too. So, but the Lions one, I guess the only good takeaway is if he does go to Detroit, I imagine it'll be a one and done, and he'll be the top head coaching candidate next year. But windows are short in the NFL, so and the Lions are already a good team.
Yeah, 100%.
And I mean, we kind of thought McDaniel was safe. Cody was out there speculating that part of the reason they fired him is because they're interested in John Harbaugh, who was fired by the Ravens after their horrific loss last week. And Harbaugh kind of goes against a lot of what we think of what people want as a head coach right now. Because like you had said, Mike, like people are looking for that offensive guru, that play caller, that's a person that can handle that one side of the ball. Harbaugh technically was a special teams coach before he became a head coach. And I mean, I think he could probably coach a defense. I think he still did have a lot of impact on both sides of the ball in Baltimore, but it still shows that old time kind of coach still has some kind of clout in the NFL when you look at it as how much interest he got immediately as he was fired.
Yeah. One thing I will say about coaches that were former special teams coordinators, sometimes those are the best. They make the best coaches, the way like catchers in baseball make the best managers sometimes, because they get to see every aspect of the team. They're coaching offensive and defensive players, and there's an element of all of that on special teams. But man, yeah, look, the whole thing with Harbaugh, unless, did you want to go? I didn't mean to jump right in. I didn't know if you were, when you hear Harbaugh gets fired, right? The initial reaction is always like, why would they do that? But if you think about it, the way I look at it is that like standards change between organizations. So like what isn't working for the Ravens with Harbaugh would work great for the Cardinals or the Raiders. Going 13-11 in the playoffs, and one AFC championship and a Super Bowl that was 13 years ago. That's not a strong enough case to keep him in Baltimore because expectations are higher, especially with Lamar and, however many years he's got left in his prime. But it does sound phenomenal for, how about the Raiders, the Cardinals, the Titans, the Dolphins, the Falcons, the Browns, who haven't done anything in forever. So I mean, you hear grumblings about teams like the Bills.
Oh, we just lost him. So he was going to go in on the Bills again. All right. hopefully he can resolve this quick. I see we are also having technical issues too, so I don't think it's just him. Sorry to the people that normally watch on Facebook. It seems like that stream might not be working currently at the moment. So hopefully you are catching us on the podcast afterwards, or head over to, I don't know why I'm telling you now, the YouTube people know, Twitch people know. But we're going to get to the answer of his question here in a minute once he gets back for this for sure. But we can also talk about, now that there's 8 openings, we kind of hinted at this a little bit. We had a conversation offline. What is your thoughts on like most intriguing opening? Which one do you want the best? How do you rank them if you want to tear them out? Any situations? All right, before we do that, he's back on his phone. He turned around quick this time. Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Did I just kick him?
I think you did. Way to go, Cody.
My bad.
So I'll let him go back in on Harbaugh when he gets back in here. In the meantime, most intriguing job right now, since there's 8, it's also crazy. 8 is a quarter of the NFL that's currently looking for a head coach. In a cycle that you and I were questioning if we were going to get to 4, all of a sudden we're up to 8. But, we kind of did talk about a couple of those. Like, that's true. We don't know if Tomlin's safe, where there could be somebody out. Like, there was even a rumor if Tomlin gets fired, maybe another coach gets fired because someone wants Tomlin.
Yeah,
but anyway,
the same could be said with the other 2 that are kind of getting the buzz, LaFleur and McDermott. Like,
fair.
I think both of those guys would be at the top of anybody's list if they were to be let go. But to the same point that I think Mike was going to make was the potential of, just expectations in current spots. All right, he is coming back. He's getting set up. All right, he is good to go.
My God. We started with this amazing intro. We've got the most famous guy. This guy can't even keep his studio up and running. I'm just going to do it on my phone. I hope it still sounds okay.
Sounds great.
All right.
Sounds good.
Anyway.
You want to pick right back up where you are with Harbaugh?
Sure, yeah. Let me just destroy this episode a little more. What I was saying, so you hear grumblings about teams like the Bills possibly getting, if McDermott gets fired and they could get Harbaugh. Where the organization is at right now, that would be like smashing your iPhone and then go buying a Samsung. My question is, what are you gaining with Harbaugh that you don't already have with McDermott? However, teams like the teams I just listed before would gain a lot. So there needs to be discretion with coaching hirings is kind of what I'm getting at.
No, I like that. But you mentioned McDermott. You are a Bills fan.
Oh, yes.
There is a lot of rumblings that if they get bounced in this playoff, the playoff without Mahomes, without Lamar, without Burrow, that Allen should run through. Although the defense is a big part of it, 31st against the rushing attack, and that's what McDermott comes back run from. Do you think he gets let go if the Bills unfortunately drop this week?
This has been the question since 13 seconds. So here's the thing. After 13 seconds, clearly there was a lot of blame put on McDermott, as there should have been. I mean, that was the defense was completely what lost the game for them, and that's who let the team down, was the defense, and McDermott was in charge of the defense. But as the years have gone on and we've kind of gotten away from that, now the debate up until probably about the beginning of the season was, if they don't win the Super Bowl or at least get to the AFC Championship, who's going to go? Because it's got to be somebody. Is it going to be Bean? Is it going to be McDermott? Or is it going to be both? And then there's a very few that are like, well, it'll be none. We're going to run it back. Now, listen, I understand the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I mean, we're 8 years in with this regime, Bean, McDermott, Allen. So I do understand where people are like, enough. We need to see something new. And in some ways, I feel that way too. But just as I was talking about a few minutes ago, I don't know if people understand how hard it is to be consistently good in the NFL. Since McDermott got to Buffalo, it has been 12, 13, 14 wins a season. It has been playoffs and playoff wins. And I get it. They haven't gotten over the hump.
But the hump for me is a Hall of Fame head coach in Andy Reid and a future Hall of Fame quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, who for a while I thought was a robot. It's not like they're losing to teams that they shouldn't. In the regular season they drop games to teams they shouldn't, but not in the playoffs. They've lost to Mahomes and Burrow. And so for me, I always ask the question when someone says, I want McDermott fired. Well, then I say, who do you have? Who's going to, I don't know, Bill Cowher? What? Like, that doesn't even, you know what I'm just throwing that name out, but you know what I mean? Like, everybody thinks it's a good idea to fire the coach, but then who are you going to replace him with? And maybe there is some sort of offensive guru out there that could, but like I talked about with McDaniels, there's more to coaching than just being able to call good plays, right? And I look at all the games this season. I can't think of one game, and I could be wrong. People can correct me. I can't think of a game where McDermott lost it for them. His coaching decisions, his aggressiveness on fourth down, I don't have a problem with it. If someone has to go, I think it would have to be Bean. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't even know if I answered it correctly. I'm on the fence.
No, I think you answered it great. I know in Green Bay land, it's very similar.
Yes.
LaFleur is on his through his 7 seasons. We haven't been back to the Super Bowl, but he's second all time in coach wins through the first 7 seasons. He overcame the Aaron Rodgers drama, got him 2 more MVPs, has had the youngest team in 3 straight years get to the playoffs. It's like, he's a good coach. Who you're going to replace him with? It's this. Now, in our case, and it might be similar to you, like, there's a big part of the Packers fan base is like, well, Jeff Hafley's been really good the last 2 years, so let's just internally, and Joe Brady might be the internal hire that Bills fans kind of want because that's Josh Allen's guy. But I see your facial reaction now. It's like, look, I don't think Brady's getting a job this year. Maybe he does. There's always a surprise. He'll get some interviews, but I don't think he ultimately ends up getting a job this rotation. So he's going to stay there too.
Yeah. I mean, listen, for people that aren't Bills fans, Brady might sound like a great idea. And maybe he will be a great coach. But he is on the poop list right now with Bills fans because the man, he's running Madden offense. He runs duo and he runs mesh concept. That's it. And I'll talk about what more about that when we get further down into what the Bills need to do if they really want to try and win the Super Bowl. And he's a huge part of it. I think people look at it like, yep, well, we'll just fire him. We're going to plug a new guy in. And they don't understand unless you follow the teams religiously. Like I said, Sean McDermott is a leader of men. It's more than just, and by the way, their defense has been top 5 every single season he's been there. And if you look on that defense, yes, they do have some stars on there, but they are playing way above the talent on that roster. And the only way that happens is good coaching. And that's what McDermott brings. He brings a leader of men. The players in that locker room play for him, and he brings a top 5 defense. So, be careful what you wish for.
I don't think I could have said it any better there. And I think there's a lot of other teams that are still in this coaching cycle debating firing their coach after a playoff loss that should be thinking the exact same way. And I think the difference with Harbaugh is what ended up being is he lost the locker room. He went out of favor with Lamar and company. And it's not even just like them losing the last few years because they've obviously lost to the Bills. They've lost to Mahomes, etc. The same kind of way the Bills have.
Yes.
But they have lost in the most agonizing ways. And from watching that team more than I used to in the past, being married to a Ravens fan now, they look like a insanely undisciplined team. And that comes down to the head coach.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's, again, Harbaugh, he's a phenomenal coach. There's no getting around it. I'm not saying it's like, how like if you put a different drummer in Metallica, there's way better drummers than Lars Ulrich, but Lars Ulrich just works for Metallica. It just works. And for a while, Harbaugh was just working for the Ravens. It's not. And you're right. You could see it and hear it in Lamar's body language and in how he talks. You could see it on the sideline. You could see it how Derrick Henry would have these incredible first halves and then just disappear for the second half. I mean, and you're right. It all goes back to coaching. And I just think it's time to move on there. That makes sense to me. And you're right. Those losses, that's why I feel bad for Ravens fans, because they're losing the way the Bills lose, or used to lose a lot. Now now we just give you hope until the last couple games, and then we just rip your heart out. But yeah, man, I think Harbaugh's going to be fine wherever he goes. He's a great coach. But I think it was time. It's time for all parties involved, because you got to also remember, you can get away with it in Pittsburgh, right? You can get away with a guy like, and I'll get into that if you want, Tomlin, who I think is stale and mediocre, and he gets by on that because the expectations aren't great. They still haven't found their franchise QB since Roethlisberger. You've got Lamar Jackson, and he's 29 years old, and the same thing's going on in Buffalo in some ways. The pressure is on, and I don't know. I think it was the right move.
Yes, I totally agree. So really quick here before we get into the actual playoffs, quick question for you both. So we now have 8 head coaching openings in the NFL, a quarter of the NFL. I'll just run down the names really quick for those that are listening and don't know for sure. Dolphins, Ravens, Giants, Raiders, Titans, Falcons, Cardinals, and Browns. If you were a coach right now, what is the most intriguing job out of the 8?
Go ahead.
You asking me or Cody?
You can
I was
start.
hoping you two would sort it out. Go ahead.
Mine's pretty quick, because it's like the obvious answer to me are the Ravens or the Giants. But I'm going to throw the Falcons in there because of the GM situation. And the reason I love that cat is on the screen, by the way. That is amazing.
This is our mascot.
That is so great. I absolutely love that. Does the cat agree? Oh, wrong way. Don't. Oh,
yep.
Yeah.
I'll put the explicit tag on.
I'll put the I'm going to say I'll start with the Falcons for one reason. And that is because of the GM situation. I'm a firm believer, because I experienced it with the Bills, that if you have a good owner who has a good GM, they will hire good coaches who will in turn attract players to come and play, right? And a lot of times when you get a GM who sticks around and then a bunch of different coaches, it's harder to get everybody on the same page. And right now, Raheem Morris left, and so did their GM. So I think it would be appealing for a coach to say, ooh, I could go in fresh with a new GM, and we could both start from the ground up. They've got some pieces. Bijan Robinson, to me, I think is probably the best running back, just athleticism other than Jahmyr Gibbs in the league. They've got some great pass catchers, some pretty good defensive pieces. So you wouldn't be starting from scratch in that way. You could build off that. But pound for pound, if I was a coach, I would say the Ravens and the Giants for 2 reasons. 1, the markets that they're in, and 2, those organizations are both calculated. The Mara family with the Giants, and I forget who's the owners of the Ravens. They're not those type of organizations like the Browns that are going to fire you after a year. They're very slow. They're very calculated in what they do, and they're very well run. And the second part of that is they've got what I think, obviously, Lamar Jackson is a franchise quarterback, a generational talent to work with. Who wouldn't want to work with Lamar Jackson? And I think Jackson Dart, I saw him live. I went to the preseason game versus the Bills, and he just passed the eye test. He came out on the field, and I went, oh, wow, he's different. Like when you see a different athlete, up here, you see it. And I see it with Dart, and you saw it. He's got a lot to learn. He's young. So the Giants have a phenomenal defensive line. I mean, Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns, who's wildly underrated, and then of course Abdul Carter. So you have the most important part, and that is the franchise quarterback. And then you've got some really nice pieces. And by the way, Malik Neighbors, if he can stay healthy, I think he's top 5 receiver in the league. So yeah, I guess my long-winded answer would be if you want to get in with a GM on the ground floor, you want to go to the Falcons. But if you want to go somewhere and maybe not light the torch but carry it, I think the Giants and the Ravens.
Yeah, I don't have too much to disagree with you on that one. I've been saying the same thing. It's very much, I'm like, if you want to go live the cool life in Nashville, not pay no state income taxes,
sure.
Go with Tennessee. They got the most cap space.
Yeah.
If you want the best pieces, you're going to Atlanta, or obviously with Lamar in Baltimore. But the expectations come with Baltimore, and Atlanta has no first round pick. So those are the two, the red flags there. The Giants look like an up and coming team. I think Cleveland is Cleveland, so that is the biggest red flag. Like, they're just like a terrible organization. But after their draft class and their defense, like, if they could finally find the guy to turn it around, but like, I feel like I've said that every 2 years on the new head coach, like, there's the pieces there. So I don't know if I'm going to do that again. And then the Raiders getting the first overall pick, that's always intriguing to me. So if you're a big believer in Mendoza, or if you want to try to talk someone into Dante Moore or trade that pick for a Joe Burrow because the Bengals seem to want to move on from him, like, I think the Raiders, Vegas, that could be a fun one as well. The
Tom Brady being there too probably helps. That's a nice.
No, for sure. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think I'm agreeing on either Ravens or Giants. I hadn't thought too deeply on the Falcons kind of being the clean slate. It's nice too, because if you want to go find your own quarterback, they're also not a bad place. You probably can't do it this year, but you might have the wiggle room to be able to move up in the next 2 years to get that guy. And you can ride with Kirk if you're not a believer in Penix. And it's nice because you have Bijan, because you have Drake London, you have the ability to have the pieces and a solid team around for now. And then you can still try to look forward in the future. Maybe you take that guy in the later first round when you're picking in the mid-teens, I think they are. See if he's a developmental guy. And if not, you can try to make a bigger move later and roll with Kirk. So that, honestly, you kind of talked me into the Falcons being the clean slate spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a mixture of the clean slate. And I think, what's the owner's name? Is it Arthur Blank? Arthur Blank. I think he's a great owner. Atlanta's a great city. So, I mean, there's other factors too, but yeah, you've got the pieces and you can start from scratch. And as far as I'm concerned, they should have, I thought they were a playoff team. And I'm glad they fired the coach. I would have fired the coach in the draft. We don't have to get into that, but I will never understand the move of getting Penix after paying Cousins a boatload. And I know that has to do with the GM, which is why he's gone too. So, yes.
Well, if they would have, not lost to the Jets, they would be the NFC South champion. So,
how do you lose?
Yeah, how do you lose to the Jets? And at least they would have been above 500, unlike the Panthers who got in, or the Bucks if they would have gotten in. We would have felt a little less bad about that, I think.
I think so. It's mind-boggling.
It literally is. Well, why don't we talk about the Panthers and the rest of the playoff teams and jump into a playoff preview?
Yeah.
This is your playoff preview.
I love how aggressive it made that.
Yeah, and you're going to talk about the Panthers coming out of that.
Yes, we are. We're not going to talk about them first. So what we're going to do here.
Nothing says excitement, playoff excitement like the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, they're
no need to
I don't think our analysis for them is going to be too bright, but we're not going to get to them first. What we're going to do here, I'm going to go backwards in order of seed. We'll start with the AFC and then go with the NFC. We're going to name one thing that we think each team has to do to have a shot to win the Super Bowl. So that means 7 seed AFC. We're starting with the Chargers. I really thought Cody was going to hit the stupid audio. Okay. Cody, you can go first. What do the Chargers need to do to win the Super Bowl?
Something they haven't done all season, and that is figure out how to protect Justin Herbert. when he's not getting sacked, they're a good team. They have a solid defense. Their defense will keep them in all the games. But when crunch time is on the line, can they keep their quarterback upright?
Perfect. I didn't know it was one thing. I listed a couple things for each team. So I'll just.
I am totally cool with you rolling off a couple of things. That's fine.
Well, I've already derailed the show. I don't want to derail the segment.
You are not derailing the show.
The Chargers, for me, the answer is, first of all, they got to stay healthy. I mean, that's obvious. Their run game is a must, whether it's Hampton or Vidal, whoever it is. I think another key is not to play a team with a pass rush, so don't play Houston. And what Herbert are we getting? You know, are we getting the Herbert that looks like an elite quarterback that could win it all, or are we getting the Herbert that throws 4 interceptions in a game and you're just like, what? But again, Cody's right. It comes down to the offensive line being able to protect him. They are banged up, and the good news for them, though, I believe they're playing the Patriots, right? First round. Why am I blanking out?
No, that's right.
Yeah. So the good news for the Chargers is the Patriots don't really have a good pass rush, so they can get by in the first round. But just hope they don't play the Texans. You know, another thing that I always do is, you know, when I have a hard time picking, like, you know, who's going to win this game, you know, I think about, okay, it's going to be Drake May versus Herbert. And then I go, okay, well, that could be a wash. Then I go to the coaches, right? And I'm going, okay, Vrabel versus Harbaugh. That's kind of a wash. Harbaugh's been there before. He wins everywhere he goes. And Mike Vrabel, he knows how to win championships as a player, and he's been there as a coach. So for me, I think it's just got to be more of execution on the field, because the coaches are going to set them up for success for the Chargers. I think Harbaugh's going to set them up for success. But yeah, I think they just got to execute.
Yeah. So the two things that I would say, I mean, I just literally had protect Justin Herbert in all caps with an exclamation point. And that's really easier said than done, because of all the offensive line injuries they had. They haven't had a tackle play well since week 4, it feels like.
Yeah.
They're all hurt.
They're all hurt, and that's the problem. And then you have to protect yourself from playoff Herbert, because like you said, the 4 interception Herbert that comes out, it is almost every single time in the playoffs. And I mean, we even saw him dump a horrible game to Trevor Lawrence where they were up big and lost because of similar situations. So those are the two things that immediately came to my mind. And I really don't have much else to say, because they're a solid team, solid defense. If they get the run game going, they're good. It's just protect yourself from playoff Herbert and keep him upright.
100%. 100%.
I want to start with you on the next one, Mike, because Buffalo Bills are next on the clock here.
I'll limit what I wrote, because again, I didn't know it was one thing. But for me, if the Bills can't get the run game going, because the Jaguars have a phenomenal run defense, will Joe Brady have an answer for it? Will he open up the playbook outside of the mesh and duo concept and actually, you know, scheme these average to above average receivers open and make something happen? Kincaid's got to be the X factor. There's a huge difference when he's on the field. Allen's got to limit mistakes and turnovers. The D-line's got to get home. And they got to find a way to win on the road, because they've never been good on the road. They haven't really been on the road a lot in the playoffs. But for the sake of the segment, I'll say the one thing is, if the run game doesn't get working, can Brady have an answer for that?
I'll piggyback off that, because for me, it was the run game. James Cook has to run through James Cook. This isn't I know Josh Allen is the franchise guy, but run this through James Cook. I know it's a tough matchup. And then my other part, which you hit on too, was, can one of these wide receivers, or if you want to throw Kincaid, step up and be a difference maker in the playoffs? Can they be the reliable third down target? I know Shakir kind of is that in some games. We saw the big catch from Brandon Cooks a couple weeks ago. Kincaid has been hurt, but when he's in there, he's a difference maker. But can they get one guy to be consistent for 3 road games, potentially a 4th, if they can go all the way?
You got it.
And I think you and I, Cody, have been doing this together for too long because I have the exact same thing basically that you do, and it's lean on the rushing attack because now that the Ravens are out, they are the top remaining team in yards per carry left in the playoffs, and that would not only protect the defense, which I think their defense is solid, but it can be porous at times. So, ball control, time of possession, and turnovers are a few of the biggest things in the playoffs. Protect your defense that way, but you're also going to protect yourself from hero ball Josh Allen at that point too. And Josh Allen's fantastic, and I would take him over pretty much every other quarterback in the league, but you don't want to end up getting stuck with hero ball Josh Allen and having a mistake at the wrong time. And it's not really against him. He's been put in some bad situations, but avoid getting him into those situations by running the ball and controlling the game.
You're so right. I just saw a clip earlier today of a press conference, a snippet of a press conference with Allen. And he's had a weird year, and he has made some weird. If you watch the all 22 of the last game in particular, you'll see how many guys that he just wasn't seeing open. It's not like him, but it is what it is. He said in this press conference that Joe Brady actually sat down with him and made him do self-scouting this week and just watch over and over every read he missed, everything. And he hasn't done that before. So you're right on with that. We can't have what Bills fans call sugar high Josh Allen, where
I
he just
didn't know there was another nickname.
Yeah, one of the best tweets I ever saw was after his first playoff game against the Texans. It was the first year, and he just lost his mind in the second half. He looked scared. Someone said, and I'm not going to give it justice, but they were like, it looks like if Brett Favre was holding the controller and playing Madden with Allen in that game, like, because he was just like. He lost his mind, and he hasn't. I mean, he's come a long way since that. But yeah, I saw flashes of it this year where he remember when he was that Browns game when he ran backwards, 30 yards to avoid the sack. Like, what are you doing? So the one thing I do love though, and I know I'm polishing a turd here, but by them losing that game to the Eagles, there's two good things that came out of that. One, they got a bye week of sorts to rest up and heal. Who doesn't need that, right? Especially them. And two, knowing Josh Allen, he's pissed off that he missed that throw to lose the game. And I love that he's going into the playoffs because when he gets angry, especially in the wintertime, that can be a difference maker. So
we'll see. He's going to enjoy playing in 60-degree Jacksonville then.
Yeah. Duval.
You did that way better than I would. I'm just we'll clip that and play it.
Yeah, I'm doing the Cohen version. Duval.
All right. Let's move on to the Houston Texans. And I guess I'll go first because I'm kind of rotating here. Yeah. I have one that might be a little different, but I think it's a good way to run their offense. And I think they have to find ways to get Nico Collins open downfield, because their run game has been atrocious. And I think a lot of it has to do with their inconsistency in the pass game. And they've been great, but when I think people think Nico Collins is a legit wide receiver one, and he could be, but he's not a wide receiver one in the way of Justin Jefferson or that kind of player. He is an explosive down the field threat. So I think if they can find ways to scheme him open 15, 20 yards down the field, get people out of the box, that's going to be the best way to get Chubb and Woody Marks going.
No, I like that one a lot. Mine's simple. Don't lose the pass rush. Their pass rush is so good. It can look. I've seen Trent Dilfer win a Super Bowl with an elite defense. I don't care about the offense. That pass rush is so good. That defense is so good, so well coached. Don't lose that in the big games, and they'll be all right.
You couldn't be more right. I mean, the Bills lost to Davis Mills because their pass rush is might be historically good. We're going to see. But the pass rush is that team. That's the identity of that entire team. And all those old school defense wins championships guys are loving it because, I mean, you could pretty much put anyone back there, like I said with Davis Mills, and as long as that pass rush is working, you're right. I said get the run game going early so that it opens up the passing game and takes pressure off of Stroud and helps with controlling the clock. Because at the end of the day, the bottom line, that O-line needs to protect Stroud because he's not good against elite coverages. And so again, for the sake of the segment, I'll say the one thing is protect Stroud, and 1A, protect Stroud, 1B, get the run game going early.
And I think they ended up with a pretty good draw in the first round going against Pittsburgh, even more than if they would have been against Baltimore, because Pittsburgh's pass defense has been porous the entire year. Baltimore exposed them twice in the fourth quarter alone. And that's going to give Stroud more confidence winning a playoff game if he gets that done to go forward. Because they have all the potential in the world, but Stroud being young, I think, has really been the one thing still holding them back, and their defense has gotten them this far. And they're not the only team that the defense has gotten them this far either. So,
right, I agree. Is Tank Dell gonna be back? I heard he might
don't
be.
Think so.
I don't. Yeah, I didn't think he was. That would be amazing because
that's funny too that we brought his name up. I didn't know he was even potentially going to be back. Or even getting anywhere close. But I had brought his name up out of the blue in a conversation this week. It's like, can you imagine how good this team would be if they still had Tank Dell, and how good this team could be next year with Tank Dell back?
And don't forget they have Joe Mixon, but he's been hurt. Can you imagine a healthy Joe Mixon, Tank Dell, Nico Collins? Nico Collins is one of my favorite receivers in the league. I wish the Bills had Nico Collins, by the way, for what you said earlier. He's phenomenal.
Cody, I just want to give you one more shot to add anything on the Texans if you want.
I'll just add that I think I agree with you on getting the luck of the draw, getting the Steelers when they have a statue of a quarterback in the back that is not going to escape that pass rusher.
Right.
Retirement home Rodgers. Let's talk about him.
You're gonna love what I have.
I thought I had something pretty good too. I think we're gonna just pile on here.
Yeah, who's going first? Because mine's pretty simple.
I'll go with Cody because that's next in the rotation. We'll you and I can continue a little bit here.
Well, everyone knows that it's been a long time listener show. Aaron Rodgers, the football player, is my GOAT. I would love to see him go far in the playoffs. I would love to see a Packers-Steelers rematch. I don't think we're anywhere close to getting that. However, if the Steelers want to, they need to find that guy that was putting the holy water in the end zone and all over the field, and then they might have a shot.
That's perfect. Yeah, mine pretty much says, I'm not kidding you. Pray to Jesus Christ. That's what I have written down for what do the Steelers need to do to win the Super Bowl. Because, listen, I'm going to sound like such a hater, and I don't care. I have never seen a team that just squeaks their way in year after year just to give Tomlin that 9 or 10 wins that they always get, and so that he can continue his consecutive streak of winning seasons only to lose in the first round. They haven't won, I think, correct, I'm pretty 99% sure they have not won a playoff game since 2015 or 16. So, I'm sorry. I mean, they got in by mathematical purposes. They got in, but they don't belong. Not with the rest of the caliber of teams that are in there. I'm sorry, Steelers fans. I'm pretty sure you know it too. I just don't see it happening. Like you said, the defense that was supposed to be legendary in the offseason, this is going to be a legendary defense. No, it isn't. And the passing game, I don't know, man. I thought DK Metcalf was a better receiver than he is. He's so inconsistent. And but I will say that Rodgers has at the back half of this season has starting to look like old Rodgers. So there's always a chance. But for me,
play the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, right. I know Burrow used to have a tough time with the Browns too. They're the only two people. But yeah, I think if the Steelers want to win the Super Bowl, I'll end it on this. If one thing for them to win the Super Bowl, it would be Rodgers just needs to come out and look like Rodgers 2011, and that's not going to happen. But that's it for me.
No, that's a good way to put it. And kind of a mix of what everyone said here. I have more holy water. So Cody, you and I are on the same page.
That's a good one.
find a consistent passing target that isn't named Kenny Gainwell.
Yeah.
And you would think now that he's back from suspension, that could be DK Metcalf, but he hasn't been consistent all year. Maybe you'll find him in game 1 and they'll pull off this ridiculous upset, which they probably won't against that pass rush in Houston. But if they do, I'm not confident he's going to go out there and do it again. So that's been their biggest problem. And I think they really miss George Pickens, who had a great year in Dallas, even though they still weren't good.
I mean, Calvin Austin III has these flashes, but he's not a receiver that's going to carry the team. It's like when people are like, Shakir could be a number 1 for the Bills, and I'm like, no, yeah, he could. You could think of him like a number 1, but he'd be great as a slot receiver with an X receiver on the boundary. Calvin Austin would be a great slot receiver with a George Pickens on the boundary, or a DK Metcalf, I guess.
Well, I'll also say I would like to believe a lot of Steelers fans don't believe that they are an actual contender in this, but leaving the stadium last Sunday night, I heard a lot of irrational, we got Houston, that's no problem. They might be up for a pretty rude awakening this weekend, but we'll see who we all pick in a bit. In the meantime, let's move to the Jaguars. I'm going to start with you, Mike. What do the Jaguars have to do?
Man, not much. To me, they're the most complete team in the NFL at the moment. As long as they continue to be the late season version of themselves, if this is the Lawrence that we're getting, like the real Lawrence, or are we going to get mental mistake Lawrence from before? But with that being said, I will say the one thing would have to be the defense. While they're good at turnovers, at creating turnovers, they got to step up against strong offenses and show that they can get off the field on third down consistently and not just rely on forced errors. So from an X's and O's standpoint, I would say, the defense doing what I just said, and then overall, just if they can be the late season version of themselves, they're as good as anybody.
I like that. I have on my thing here, get Travis Etienne in a rhythm. So It's crazy that, honestly, since they've been on this winning streak and they're currently the hottest team in the NFL, Travis Etienne's actually fallen off after his really good start. He's had 1 or 2 good games in there, but his yards per carry have gone down, I think, 1.5 full yards. So maybe some people out there are like, why are you trying to mess with the formula that's been working for them? But the playoffs are a little bit of a different monster. You're going to get some good defenses here. Ball control is going to be important. They have to be able to find early season Travis Etienne again to take some of the pressure off of Trevor Lawrence, who has only, I think, won 1 playoff game, and it was against the Chargers who gave it to him.
Yep. Total good call. Yeah, I mean, they don't have they do have a good run game, but it's good. It's not, it's not, what's the word I'm looking for saying? Rock the world, you know what I mean? Or shock the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's
beginning
fine.
Of the season, I want to say they were top 5 in runs per carry, but since week 10, middle of the pack.
You know what? I'm so surprised. That Jacoby Myers trade, I don't think it's Jacoby Myers, like he's the reason. But if you were like, that's when the switch flipped for them on that trade. And I think it's because it just opened up more opportunities for Brian Thomas Jr. And look at Parker Washington, Brendan Strange is involved. I think it really changed the game, and defenses, they had to kind of adapt to that because he wasn't there before. And if you look at Brian Thomas Jr.'s targets before Jacoby Myers got there, it's like 4, 6. Next game is like 7 targets, 8 targets, 6 targets, 9 targets. And then all of a sudden Jacoby Myers comes along. It's like 3 targets, 4 targets, which is a good thing because they're spreading the ball around and freeing up other guys. So.
Yeah, I think you guys made a ton of great points there. The only thing I will just reiterate is don't lose the momentum. It's hard to win 12 games in a row, and that's what the Jaguars are going to do if they win the Super Bowl. So I guess figure out a way to maintain that momentum, realizing it's a new season starting over, but keep going with what's been working, because 12 in a row is a tough task, and we'll see if they're up to it.
Man, you nailed it. That's actually the best answer, I think. We're
Mhm.
you know, George and I are going in depth, which is fine. But you know what? You're right. At the end of the day, just win 12. Like, that's hard to win 12 games. That's really what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that honestly is the best answer. And I didn't thought when you think about it, and they've won 7
Yeah.
or 8.
They're
Yeah,
on-
like
they
that's
won 8.
one thing.
That actually
8,
makes me
yeah.
feel better about the Bills. Like, maybe that's, you know, you know, match up to Matt, you know, just on paper, I think the Jags are going to have that game. But when you take the X's and O's out and you go with the feelings part of it, maybe they're like, oh, you know, you catch them tired, or it's hard to keep that momentum going. So maybe that'll help the Bills. Who knows?
We gave him some hope, Cody. That's good. We gave him
You
something to
did.
come out of the show with.
I did not have much. You did.
I'm glad
All right.
I could be of assistance.
I'm going to move us to the Patriots. My point for the Patriots I have, and I can argue this team is a year early because Drake May came out of nowhere, and he might even be the league's MVP, but I don't think I want to necessarily rely on him in the playoffs if I can help it. And I'm not going to say go to the run game, even though Travion Henderson's been great. I'm going to say he needs to find his actual safety blanket. And I feel like at times this year it's been Stephon Diggs. At times this year it's been the tight ends. I want him to know who that guy is coming into these playoff games, where if I'm in a 3rd and 5, I know I can go to Hunter Henry. I know I can go to Stephon Diggs. So I need that one person to step up.
Yeah, I think Hunter Henry is that guy too.
Oh no, did we lose his phone now too?
No,
Oh, you're still there. Your screen just went black.
I'm there. I'm here. My stupid sister called me.
Oh, it's all good. Maybe your sister wanted. You should have answered, and maybe she was going to tell you about how the Patriots would win the
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
Hey, while you're on the phone. Wow, this has been a disaster on my end. I apologize.
No, no need to apologize. But do you have anything else to add about the Patriots?
Oh yeah, so I haven't really gone into it. I mean, look, I'll keep it short. Similar to you, for me, the real question is, will Drake May look as poised and calm in the pocket as he had all season in the play? We don't know what playoff Drake May looks like because he's so young. I have a feeling he's going to be just fine. I think he's fine. And in fact, I went on record on my sports podcast, GMY Sports, before the season started. I said I think that the Pats are going to challenge the Bills for the division, and all my Bills friends thought I was crazy. I didn't think they were 14 wins good, but I knew they were going to be good. So I think if May can look like he has during the season, that's going to be a big part of it. But again, out of respect for the segment, the one thing that they really, really do need to do is they need to find a way to get after the quarterback. They don't have pass rush, and when they start playing quarterbacks like Josh Allen, or you know, maybe they go and play, you know, in the Super Bowl against Jalen Hurts, these mobile quarterbacks, they're not able to contain them, and I think that might be their undoing. That might be the undoing of the Patriots for them, because when you get to the playoffs with these top tier quarterbacks, you've got to find a way to make them uncomfortable and flush them out of the pocket and force mistakes.
No, I like that a lot, and mine is not much different. I've been very heavy on the vibes with my last couple answers. I'm gonna stick with the Patriots. I know this is a football podcast. We like to have fun. We don't talk about the negative stories that often, but there was a couple negative stories that came out about the New England Patriots, some of their key players. How does the locker room respond to that? There's the outside noise from the media about Drake May hasn't beat anybody, and they haven't played anybody good. Their record is fake. Like, how does the locker room? I think they have the right coach for it. Back to the coaching conversation at the top of the show. I think he is the guy that could rally them together. So they're really going to have to lean into Mike Vrabel for them to go on and win the playoffs and keep that stuff, keep out the noise, and just keep playing good football.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel's built for this as a player and as a coach. So, and then you got McDaniels there too. So you're absolutely right. I mean, they have the right leadership to get them over that kind of stuff. You know, that goes back to the whole coaching thing. You know, when those things happen, if you don't have the right coaches in place, that can dismantle an entire locker room. So you're right. Vrabel's a huge part of helping them get over that.
If Vrabel willed Ryan Tannehill to an AFC championship game,
Exactly.
I have a lot of faith that he could at least at some point will Drake May to that. Will that be this year or not? I don't know.
You know what? That is such a good, like, if anyone wants to argue about Vrabel, you know, if someone was to say, hey, he's all right, you know, you could just say Ryan Tannehill. Like, just Ryan Tannehill. He brought the Titans and Ryan Tannehill to an AFC championship, what were they thinking getting rid of Vrabel, by the way? Goes back to that whole coaching thing when I said the Giants and the Ravens are a calculated organization. Like, the Titans, like, you let Mike Vrabel go? I don't know. Anyway.
It was almost robbery that Mike Vrabel had a gap year too.
I know.
That was calculated. He didn't want to be the guy to.
It was probably calculated by Vrabel. Yeah.
I mean, it just, when they hired him, when the Patriots hired him as a Bills fan, I went, oh, because I just knew, I'm like, this is. And then when they said, and they're bringing McDaniels back, I went, oh. You know, this is like your old it's like your old middle school bully moved away and things have been great. And now all of a sudden he moves back to town. You're like, no, please. Like, everyone in school likes me now. I have friends. I got asked to go to the dance. Like, no. Ugh. They've terrorized my life for decades. George and Cody. The same way that the Packers have terrorized the Bears' lives, like the Patriots have just destroyed my life for decades.
I think we got one more team in the AFC.
Yeah. The Broncos.
It is the Denver Broncos, and you're first.
Who's me?
Yeah.
You, because I was just talking right to you.
Okay.
Get the program
on the screen. I'm never good at this. You know this. The Broncos. They have the similar task as the Jags. They're on an 11-game win streak. Now they have the bye this week. How do they recover from that? And I just need the Broncos. This Broncos team is so hard for me to. They're on an 11-game win streak, and it still feels like I just don't see it with Bo Nix. I just don't see it with the offense. The defense is elite. Another one that could be record-breaking with getting to the pass rush, which is a big deal. So I think that is definitely a part of it. Rolling through their defense. No surprise onside kicks for Sean Payton this year. So the defense is going to have to carry them like they did, maybe not to the extent of the Peyton Manning Super Bowl, but it'll have to be pretty close.
Yeah, and I don't know if the defense itself can do it, which is why what I have on here is you need more than one quarter a game out of Bo Nix. Like, there's no way you're telling me that they get to the Super Bowl by coming back 20 points in the fourth quarter on somebody like they did on the Giants. So they have to find a way to unlock him. And also maybe this team's a year early too. Like I just said about the Patriots. Bo Nix is great, has a chance to be one of the next stars in the NFL, but I don't know if it's time yet.
I mean, look, I'm going to sound like I'm just ripping you both off. We all have the same thought, and that is, what do they have to do to win the Super Bowl? Not much, other than can Nix take that next step to becoming clutch? Because all I think about was that Giants game. And I get it. It's a regular season game. But sometimes the stats in a game don't always tell the full story. You know, if you had watched that game and you saw how they just blew it, and Nix was erratic. Look, I mean, because the Broncos, both lines are awesome, defense and offensive line. Peyton, like Vrabel, he's been there. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time. And by the way, they're 11-2 in one-score games this season, which is, you know, that's impressive. So yeah, it really comes down to Nix,
because we can take that back to Vikings a few years ago, where I think they had one loss in one-score games, and they got shipped out in the first round by the Giants.
Yeah. It's going to come down to Nix. Can Peyton reel him in? We'll see.
I like it. We're all basically on the same page there, and it's interesting. As a 1 seed, we're still kind of like, and it shows how wide open the field is this year. But is it wide open enough to get the Packers into the Super Bowl? And I know, Mike, it's your turn, but I want to go to Cody first, if that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, before we talk about the Packers, I'll let Mike know that I think Sean Payton is overrated. So I
I can't
disagree.
stand him.
I completely disagree. One of the best coaches of all time. So I think he's
Fine.
Mike McCarthy is just as good as him, but Sean Payton has a better PR team. But that is a different conversation for a different day.
Okay.
We'll talk about the Packers. And honestly, this team has made 29 roster moves in the last 13 days to deal with injuries. Heading into the playoffs, coming off of a 4-game win streak, there is not a lot. I mean, everyone's healthy now, but we call up 6 practice squad guys, and they're getting their first appearance in the playoffs. So there is a lot to be said about what this team can do. They lost Micah Parsons. That defense is not as good without it. But we talked about good coaches. I think Matt LaFleur is a good coach. I know at least we have Toyota-thon through this week, so we can get through the Bears. Maybe Toyota will extend it so Jordan Love Toyota-thon can continue. Honestly, I want them to win so bad, but it's just hard to see with the amount of injuries for them to overcome it. So let's just end the Bears season.
It's its own Super Bowl. I get it. That's how I feel when they play the Bills play the Patriots. I'm like, you know what? It's my own Super Bowl. Can I just say I am so envious of the Packers receiving core. What I would give to have a receiving core like that, and I know they're young and there's some inconsistencies, but I mean Christian Watson's playing the best football of his career right now, in my opinion.
I love Christian Watson. I've loved him from day one. He is probably the X factor. If he
might be, he really might be. You know what sucks is what's his name? Is it Tyler Kroft?
Kraft.
He's out, right?
Yeah,
Tucker Kraft. I just said like 4 names mixed into one.
I think you said Tyler Kroft, like former Bills 3rd-string tight end.
Yes. So. Oh my God. I'm impressed that you even knew who that was. That's wild. That's exactly who that was. They got him from the Bengals. Years. Wow. Anyway, their receiving core is just what I would give for a Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs, Matthew Golden, Christian Watson. Oh my God. And that's why my key for the Packers to win the Super Bowl is to pass protection for Jordan Love. He's one of the best drop back quarterbacks in the league, and they need to improve their pass protection for him. That's what I got. And can they win on the road?
And not shoot themselves in the foot 37 times in Chicago, giving up a 14-point lead, onside kick, overtime loss like they did 3 weeks ago. Can we not do that again?
Yeah. How do you feel about LaFleur's play calling?
I think he is a really good play caller. I think he's a really good coach. I think he knows how to handle the locker room. My only criticize with LaFleur, and maybe this is something he can work on too, is sometimes I think he is a very smart guy, sees the game very well. And I think sometimes that he overcomplicates things. Like sometimes it's like, bro, just run the slant but it's so crazy because he is also the king of 3rd and 4th down inside zone from shotgun run. And it's only like 70% effective. I'm like, sometimes you overthink the smallest things. And then this is
100%.
like that Eagles game. They're all yelling inside zone. I'm like, guys.
You can hear them. They know it's coming.
You literally heard them too. It was one of the defensive ends was like zone to me. Like what?
Truth be told, man, Cody, when we were talking about McDermott getting fired earlier, how that people talk about that, and I've been a McDermott truther, but again, I understand that if he was to go, it is justified in some ways. And I talked about when people say, I want my coach fired. Well, who would you replace him with? Matt LaFleur is on my short list of guys that, like, if McDermott was to get fired, which I'm not saying I want to happen, and for some reason they fired Matt LaFleur, yeah, that's a guy I would take for every reason you just listed, other than the overthinking things.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't say about the coaching earlier, and I guess that could also tie into how they can win the game, is if LaFleur gets fired, he's the top of everyone's list. It's not Harbaugh. He's the top candidate of everyone's list. And if you have that guy in-house, just keep him.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing now is everyone's running to these young hot offensive guru-minded, your Kyle Shanahans and your Ben Johnsons. And for me, Matt LaFleur falls under that category. So you're absolutely right. He would immediately go to the top. Although, I don't know. I'm semi-intrigued with Cliff Kingsbury. I would love for, I don't know about a head coach, but I would love for him to be the OC for the Bills. But that's, again, different story. I'm derailing us.
Last thing, and then I'll let George talk. You said hot young coaches. My wife would completely agree with the LaFleur hotness. She has a sweatshirt about it. The young, fun fact, he's now the oldest coach in the NFC at 46.
Oh, really?
So just think about that. And now, after all the firings, he's now the oldest coach at 46.
All right.
So you see, I thought I had a lot more time to get myself together before being able to become an NFL head coach, and apparently that time's coming up a lot faster than I thought.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? I remember watching a Yankee game, and like it was a couple years ago, and they were like, and now here comes spring ball, and here comes one of the rookies who's born in 2001, and I was like, what? And I just been like, man, like I don't know, just players. I've always watched these teams, and the players are older than, and I look up to them, and now they're all way younger than me. They're kids. I feel so old. I am not a young, hot coach.
I'm not either.
And by the way, I meant hot, like, exciting. I didn't mean good looking, but yeah, he's a good looking dude too. If we, tell your wife she's got good taste.
I knew it. Well, she picked me, so obviously, but
obvious.
I knew what you meant. But anytime that he's on the screen, she yells, "Oh, Maddie!" So
yeah, my wife does that with. She likes the coach of the Panthers and the coach of the the Seahawks, McDonald
and David Alice.
Yeah, so now I hate them. So, but
two completely different situations here. Cody's like, it's all cool, and you're like, no.
Poor George. We're talking about attractive coaches, and you're just trying to tell us your one thing that the Packers should do to win the Super Bowl. Go ahead. Sorry.
So my one thing is apparently have LaFleur coach shirtless in the cold to distract the other team.
Yeah. Cody's wife will be on the
I don't know
on the first flight.
Is Ben Johnson, as much as he likes to talk crap about other people's, I saw his six-pack when he took his shirt off.
Yeah.
In the cold. We can keep the shirts on.
Yeah, dude.
All right, no shirts versus skins in Packers Bears, but my key to the Packers having a shot to win the Super Bowl is find a way to play, even if it's a conservative defense, to try to hold teams less than 21. You're really injured. I think you're past the point of trying to suffocate people with a defense. Just try to limit what you can and let Jordan Love handle the rest.
Well said. Well said.
And catch the ball. We have dropped so many interceptions this year, which is the most frustrating thing.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we at next? 49ers. I think we skipped you, Mike. So what do you think the 49ers have to do to win the Super Bowl?
Everyone wear bubble wrap. I mean, I've never seen a team more injured over the years than that team. I mean, the bottom line, kind of like I said about, I can't remember now. I think it was the Patriots. Bottom line is their defensive line's got to find a way to get home with the QB for the same reason. It's just you're playing elite quarterbacks at this stage. You've got to create. I mean, because they don't have a great secondary, and one of the things you can do when you don't have a great secondary is cause disruption at the line. So it takes less pressure off of your secondary. So I think, that would be number one, but I'll throw a little extra one in there. And that is Brock Purdy needs to play like the Brock Purdy from, 2 weeks ago when he was scrambling around. He threw it to Juszczyk. He looked like Allen or Mahomes or Hurts I don't know where that came from. He's scrambling like a maniac. And then there was another game this year where he threw like 3 interceptions, and the last game they looked like they didn't show up. So we need a good defensive line, and you need Purdy to play at his best.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of feast or famine with Purdy because even the game he threw 5 touchdowns that you're talking about, where you're scrambling all over the place, he still threw a pick 6 in that game. Like, we don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't think there's ever going to be a perfect game with Brock Purdy because they tried to play that against the Seahawks and realized that they played so conservative that they could only put 3 points on the board. So I think you do have to kind of let it loose. And that wasn't even my point, but I agree with what you said. My point literally says see Packers because their defense is so hurt that I have the exact same point for them as I have for the Packers.
Yeah.
No, I like that. They might be getting Fred Warner back if they can make a deep playoff run, which would be a big boost. For me, I'm going to keep it simple. It's comes down to one way or the other. Did they overuse CMC in the regular season? I've talked about it how with the lack of production, he should be right up there with. He didn't hit the 1,000 because they didn't fill up or show up in that last game, and he was a little bit banged up. But over 2,000 all-purpose yards has been a big catalyst. The guy that stayed healthy consistently on that offense. But did they overuse him? You saw him even that game that they won. He came out with a little bit of back tightness. How does that affect him going into the playoff? If he's healthy, I think they can beat anybody. If he's banged up, I don't like their chances.
Yeah, you're so right. It's amazing to me that he hasn't been hurt, knock on wood, because he's been prone to injuries before. And they've used him so much this season, which I know it won't happen. But if he won Offensive Player of the Year or even MVP, I wouldn't think twice about it. He's that important. I mean, to me, he's the definition of an MVP. He's the most valuable player on that team at all times. But you are so right, Cody. I was saying the other day, I'm like, when you see a running back start to kind of tail off, they don't have that spark anymore, and you go, well, yeah, just years of getting hit. That year is this year is taking seasons off of his career, and they've relied on him because they've had to. So they better make it count.
Yeah, I mean, we even saw 3 years ago, or I guess 2 years ago, he was this exact same player. It got to the NFC Championship. They lost because their quarterbacks, plural, got hurt in the NFC Championship game. Last year, he didn't even really play because he was so banged up that from all that overuse that he came back and then got hurt again. This year, after the rest, he looks fantastic again, but you can tell it's starting to wear on him. So for anyone out there listening that has any fantasy thoughts about next year, we're not taking CMC next year. Maybe in 2 years if we see he can rebound.
He also hits that dreaded 30 mark this year.
Yeah.
So.
Ooh, RIP.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a good run.
Sorry, buddy.
Sticking in the West, 5 seed Rams. I guess technically I'm first, so let's unlock my phone for my notes. All right. They were the best offense in the league before Davante Adams pulled that hamstring and then pulled it again. He needs to get up to speed as fast as possible. I think that is number one. I'm confident in them playing defense. I'm confident in Puka. I'm confident in their couple of running backs in the run game. If Adams gets back up to speed fast, I don't know if they can be stopped.
No, I'm with you. For me, I'll keep mine even simpler. Everyone do their job. If everyone does their job on that team, I think they have all the makings of a team that can go all the way. Like, I don't need Stafford throwing 3 interceptions like he did against Atlanta. I don't need them trying to force the ball to Puka now that they get Davante Adams back. Just do your job, and they'll be all right.
Yeah, I was on the Rams train from preseason. And then obviously throughout the season, I went, dude, there's all these teams that could win it. And then there's just like one elite team. And for a while it was the Rams. They did have a rough couple of weeks. So it's crazy, George, because the first thing I wrote down was get Adams back involved. I would also split carries between the running backs. I think when they use Corum, as just as much as they use, help me out here. Thank you.
Tyron.
I think when they split carries between the running backs, it helps. But again, if we're going to go with one thing, and it's pretty obvious, they've got to improve their run defense. That has been their Achilles heel all season long. So they've got to find a way to limit the runs with their opponents, especially if they're going to play the 49ers, any of the other teams, to be honest. So, yeah, run defense.
I like it. That's a good way to wrap up the Rams. We'll see if they can do their job. This is going to be another fun one. I'm interested to see what we have here. The Carolina Panthers. Do they have a shot to win the Super Bowl? I think it might be the question.
I wrote
Cody,
also. Go ahead, Cody. Yeah.
I would say you could take it. I've been telling people all week when I've been talking offline, this NFL season has been extremely weird. That there's 14 teams in the playoffs. You can convince me 13 teams could win it all. That 14th team is the Carolina Panthers. You can't convince me they're going to win it all. No way. But if for the sake of this segment, they need to figure out how to play the games they played against the Rams and the Packers, 2 playoff teams already. They beat both of them. Did they also lose by 31 points to the Bills? Did they also lose by 30 points almost to the Patriots? Yeah. So they've lost to good teams. They beat good teams. They got to figure out what worked with those good teams, harness it, and make one incredible run.
Me? I mean,
Yeah, you're up.
I'm not kidding you. I literally wrote also pray to Jesus. I'm sorry. I don't see it. I couldn't believe they were even in the running to make the playoffs. I don't, listen, I don't want to trash them. I think their coach is obviously the entire reason why they are where they are. Even though my wife thinks he's hot. I guess, look, I have a huge problem with teams making the playoffs with a losing record, but that's the way the NFL is set up. They've danced around the idea of maybe changing it to where they seed, 1 through 7, like they do in hockey and the NBA, but then that takes away the meaning of the division, and that's a different conversation. They don't belong there, but if they're going to try and go on a run, I guess they've got to find a run game somewhere. Because Bryce Young, for me, has shown. I'll tell you this. I went from thinking, I told you, I knew he'd be a bust, to okay, this kid can play. Tat McMillan, he's got some other pieces there. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember really ever seeing their run game a threat at all. And for me, that's a big part of the passing game. That's kind of the way football works, is if your run game's working, it opens up play action, and it just it does wonders for the offense. So yeah, I guess that's my answer is pray to Jesus. But for the sake of the segment, I'll say get the run game going early.
No, I'm so glad you two actually came up with something serious. Because
I couldn't. I was thinking. I was trying. I could. I prepared before I came, and every time I came back to the Panthers, I'm like, what do I want to talk about? I don't know. I don't. They don't belong.
I cut you off, Cody. I'll let you go before I go.
I was gonna say the run game is a very good point. I know when they beat the Packers, that was like the Rico Dowdle breakout game for 25 carries, 130 yards.
And that was it.
And then Chuba Hubbard, when they beat the Rams, he had a little bit of a bounce back game. I think his one was technically a pass, but it was a screen pass that he took, which is basically an extension of the run game. So the run game would be, if they can get that going, would be their, I guess, the best answer.
Yeah, I feel better now because I was just pulling it out of a hat. I couldn't think.
And you still had a much more serious answer than mine is. So don't feel bad at all. I have even more holy water than the Steelers.
We did the same thing. Oh, that's great.
Yep, we did.
I was like, also pray to Jesus.
Not so serious. My not so serious yet serious answer is find a way to have Drake May dress up in Bryce Young's uniform.
Perfect. That's exactly right.
I'm pretty sure, I'm not going to look it up, but I would guess Drake May has at least 7 inches on Bryce Young. I think that's going to be hard to hide.
Yeah, that would be a real tough sell. You know, it would be like the kids
Yeah.
that wear they're on each other's shoulders with the coat. Like it. Yeah. I mean, the difference in stature between Bryce Young and Drake May, that'd be tough to pull off. But I love the concept because you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I could have picked an eliminated quarterback and been like, have Bryce Young be replaced by Lamar, but that would be even more hard to hide. So that wouldn't work.
Maybe
Yeah.
they could just go back and not get rid of Baker or Sam Darnold.
There's a thought. Unbelievable. Don't even get me going on that. I can't believe they let Baker go.
Yeah, and I mean, immediately when Baker went
Cleveland
to
could
the
be saying
Rams,
the
you
same
saw the
thing.
difference.
So. But George, you got to talk about your Eagles, I think.
I think I do. So what the Eagles have to do to win the Super Bowl, and I think it's simple, run the ball effectively. And why I think they can do it is because they're getting Lane Johnson back this week. And when they were running the ball the most effectively earlier in the year, it's when he was still in the lineup and they were able to use Fred Johnson, who's been replacing him as a sixth offensive lineman because they don't have a good blocking tight end. So I think them being able to go heavy and run play action off of it's going to be their key.
All right. I didn't take mine serious, so I'll just go. You have two options. Get AJ Brown 10 plus targets a game or find him a good book. Whichever one it is, you're good.
Yes. Yeah, it's got to be
My
one
work
of those.
gave me that book for Christmas this year. It was great.
Yeah. So again, I thought when we did, when you sent over some of the topics, I didn't know it was one thing. So I mean, I said they need the Eagles' defensive line needs to get pressure without blitzing.
Yeah.
QB containment. Obviously, their offensive line. Hopefully, they're healthy. Limit turnovers. But the number one thing, and I get that run game going. I don't know where it's been, but it needs to happen now, because you can see how much that offense has struggled without Barkley. And I'm not saying they need to, Barkley needs to do what he did last year. We all know that's very hard to replicate, and very often that never happens 2 times. But it's been almost abysmal in some cases. And I think for the sake of the offense as a whole, and I guess I'm repeating I keep saying this throughout the thing, but it's important. You got to get the run game going, and it helps out the offense as a whole. And then I wrote a little, and keep Nick Sirianni's mouth shut. That's the last thing I would do. Please.
The hate for him from outside sources is 100% understandable. And if he ever gets to the point where the Eagles aren't making the playoffs, it's going to be really quick where fans start calling for his head again. And
they already
I
are.
can say right now is no one likes us. We don't care, but I understand.
Yeah. I mean, look, I always knew he was a bit obnoxious, but I'm like, whatever. He's funny and, he wins. But when they played the Bills and that whole thing of him walking through the tunnel, and he was like creating this scenario that literally every Bills media and Bills fan was like, we never talked shit about, like, we were like, I don't know if we can win this game. Like, I knew I had the Eagles winning that game in the preseason. So I don't know what he was referring to, that we thought we were going to take him down, but whatever. But, I always was curious.
He does that every game, just so you know.
Okay.
I kind of heard that come out afterwards. And I think that's part of the reason why that and how bad the offense was is why AJ gave him like the rolling of the eyes on the way.
Yeah. I see. Well, that makes me feel better about it. Yeah. I mean, I was always curious how Eagles fans perceive him, because I might love that if he was my coach. I don't know.
They don't.
I lean into it. I do like it.
It fits the personality.
It can get old really fast.
Yeah. I mean, look, like I said at the beginning of the episode, where it's like, Mike McDaniels is quirky and weird, and that's all fine and good until you're not winning and it's not quirky and funny anymore. Sirianni's he talks trash, but guess what? He wins, and he wins Super Bowls. So it's like, all right, what are you going to do? I mean, he backs it up, and he fits the personality of that city, with all due respect, the 70s Flyers, the Broadway Bullies or whatever, like that. That's what Philadelphia fans and teams are known for. And so I think he fits well there.
And he's also kind of the anti-Hurts, because Hurts is the quiet guy who puts his head down and says things and sayings. Dude. And Sirianni's just like, I'm going to scream in your face and throw you a finger on the way off the field after I win.
Sometimes I wonder if Hertz was in like the middle of a fire, if he'd just be like, "Hey man, it's okay. It's okay. Everyone remain calm." You know,
He would
he's
come up with
always
some inspirational saying to talk about how the fire is lighting the fire inside of him to win another game or something.
You know what though? I tell people all the time that, that are like, yeah, but Hurts, he's just very even keeled. I'm like, that's phenomenal in sports. I go, you know how much money I've paid to therapists over the decades so that I could not care like that when bad things happen? I think that's what you want. Josh Allen preaches that in the locker room, and so does Sean McDermott. Not too high, not too low. The wins and losses. You just got to stay even keeled. And Jalen Hurts is the poster child for that.
Yes, 100%. Amen. All right. I think we're on to two more teams. We got the Bears up next, and I think Cody is first.
Great. I'm sure everyone will love me talking about the Bears. They
Flipping it already.
are very similar to the Broncos to me, in a sense, except the Broncos have a really good defense. The Bears do not. But the Bears have the most fourth quarter comebacks. They lead the league in turnovers. Two things that often change a lot in the playoffs. But if they can continue to make those big comebacks and never find a way out of it and continue to lead the league in turnovers, they have a shot. But I will leave you with the stat that they are 2-6 in games that they only create one turnover or less.
Wow. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a real good one.
So their kryptonite. Can you take advantage of it?
Well, is that me or you, George?
I'll go next because honestly, my point was basically Cody's, and it was get turnovers on defense, because the only way that they've won games is getting turnovers on defense. So 100% agree with Cody, and we'll see what you have, Mike.
I have one thing for the next two teams. So I actually, not on purpose, but I finally followed the rules. I have one thing for the Bears, one thing for the Seahawks. And for the Bears, keep Caleb's head on straight. I think the biggest thing holding Caleb Williams back in his career, very young career, has been between his 2 ears. I think he's a very cerebral guy. If you remember when he lost at the USC and he was like in the stands, curled up with his mom, which I don't fault him. It was cute. Okay, that's fine. Some people didn't like it. But my point is he's a very emotional guy. And when I hear him and I watch him in these press conferences, I feel like he's saying things that he's supposed to say as opposed to what he's actually feeling. But I've seen maturity in him on the field and off the field since Ben Johnson got there. He's been key in Caleb's development and will continue to do so. So I think we haven't seen playoff Caleb yet. I think if he can keep his head on straight, that would be my key.
I like it. That's honestly probably going to be the most important part, even more than their defense, because that's kind of the more unknown. They have some guys on defense who have playoff experience, a couple guys who have a ring, and I think I'm more confident in the side of the ball. So the offense is probably going to be the difference, and Caleb is the X factor in that, being the young guy. So great point. We ready to move to the Seahawks then? And you said you had 1 point, Mike. Knock it out.
Yeah. I'm being boring here, but it's the same thing. Can Darnold keep his head on straight? Regular season Darnold is amazing. 14 wins with the Vikings last year, completely fell apart in the playoffs. He buckled under the pressure. He's got 14 wins with the Seahawks this year. And the reason I say this, I probably wouldn't have said it, that Darnold can't handle pressure, and that's really going to be the key for because right now the Seahawks, like the Jags in the AFC, I think they're the most complete team, and I think they could win it all very easily. But for me, it's, can Darnold be the quarterback that he's been for the Vikings and the Seahawks during the regular season? He had one of the best pro days I ever watched in my life. I came home and his pro day was on, and I watched it. And he threw in the rain, and I was like, this guy is going to be amazing. And then he went to the Jets, and the Jets do what the Jets do to quarterbacks. And he's had an incredible resurgence. and I'm really rooting for him. I like Sam Darnold, and I just think the key to them winning the Super Bowl is can he not buckle under the pressure? And I say that, I'll end it with this. It's because of the last game I just watched against the 49ers. He had Zach Charbonnet wide open in the flat, with nobody in front of him, clean air. If he had just thrown it to him, he would have walked right in. And I don't know what he was seeing. He freaked out and he checked down to someone else. Or I don't remember exactly how it played out, but those are the kind of things that happen to him in those moments. He buckles under the pressure, and so I think if he can keep his head on straight, they've got a good shot.
Yeah, I don't have too much more to add. My big T it's just Sam Darnold. Which
Yeah.
one shows up? Which one does he get? I think Mike McDonald is a very good coach. I think this defense is playing really well. I know George is going to mention something about the running back, so I'm going to let him talk about that. But yeah, Sam Darnold is going to be the difference maker for them.
100%.
You can be shocked, but I do not have send Zach Charbonnet on the first plane to Jamaica on my to-do. But no, mine's really kind of along the same point as you guys, and that's protect the ball on offense, because Sam Darnold's going to be the key, and they have had the most explosive offense in the NFL this year, but they also have, if not, I don't know if it's the highest or one of the highest turnover rates in the NFL this year. I don't want to put that extra stress on the defense that's been playing so well if I can help it in a key game.
Excellent.
All right. We've already gone longer than I expected to, which is great.
Yeah,
we had some great conversation.
No, that's what you get with me. I freaking elongate everything. Anytime we're shooting a show, it's always like, wrap it up, Mike. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
We got a lot to say. It's all good.
And we play by our own rules here. So
you're damn right we do.
So I think, why don't we rapid fire wild card weekend? I'll name some matchups. We'll say maybe one thing.
One
really
sentence.
Fast, one sentence, and who you have to win. And then after that, we'll reveal our full brackets for the playoffs, including our Super Bowl predictions.
Done.
Okay. First game, Rams at Panthers. I think I know where we're all going. Cody, you first.
Rams. They get revenge.
Rams without question. Bet the farm.
Yeah, Rams. I mean, the problem with betting the farm is you're going to get about 2 cents back.
You'll get one farm animal back.
Comment of the century.
What you got?
Polar Nights. As a barber, this show to be every stage of beard growth.
Yeah, sorry. That's my fault. It's my fault.
It's whatever George has going on
you
there.
literally until about a month and a half ago.
Playoff beard.
Yeah, playoff beard. Packers at Bears. I was going to go to Mike next, but Cody, you're up.
Green Bay. They get revenge.
Oh.
And I'm not picking the Bears. There's no way. Look, there's a G behind me. There's Packers memorabilia. I'm not saying the Bears are going to win. The Packers are going to win the game. They're the better team. They have not they lost one game, but they have led for 120 minutes. Just think about that. We only play 60-minute games. Packers are the better team. They're going to win the game.
Well,
Mike.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Cody. I have the Bears. I think they've got the momentum on their side. I think not having Micah Parsons is a huge deal. And I just feel like the Packers kind of limped in the playoffs and they're not at full strength. So I think the Bears just have a small edge. And I hope I'm wrong for your sake.
I appreciate that.
The fact that we're saying small edge in a 2-7 matchup is already something. And I actually, shockingly enough, also have the Packers. And it's because even post Micah, it took them coming back in the fourth quarter to beat the backup quarterback who didn't have practice the week before because Love got knocked out with a concussion. So for whatever reason, it was like I would take the Bears in pretty much every matchup in the first round, but the Packers was the one that concerned me, and they got it.
So just for funsies, when is the last time a 2-7, the 7 has been the favorite?
Oh my God!
In the sport, It can't be that long because we've only had the 7th seed for what 4 seasons now.
Do you know? And you're asking, or are you literally like asking? You don't.
It was definitely rhetorical, but
Okay.
the Packers are anywhere from 1 point to 1.5 point road favorites as the 7th seed to the 2 seed, according to the sports books. So
It's not crazy at all.
we're gonna get some. And
It's that damn tie. The ties ruin everything. Don't even
The
get me
tie.
going.
Yep.
the
That game that was 40-40 and went to midnight and could have been an email, as Cody
That was
said famously.
wild.
although
Could have been
if everything else stays the same and that doesn't end in a tie, I think like the Vikings are in the playoffs instead of us. So
yeah. Well,
so I'll take the tie. Ties are great. The other thing I'll say about this matchup before we move on, there is a chance of snow in the forecast. And since Buffalo isn't on the road, we need at least one snow playoff game. So before domes take over the league, I think Lambeau's safe forever, but let's get a snow playoff game.
I love that. Amen.
We need at least one good one as postseason. I would like it to be Bears Packers too. It seems fitting for the North to be that division that gets it.
I'm most excited about Packers Bears. It's the gift that keeps on gifting. I mean, they split the series and now they're playing a third time, and it's one of the storied rivalries in all of sports. Like, I'm so pumped for that game.
Yeah, it's the most hyped 2-7 game of all time.
Yeah.
And it really could go either way. I'm excited to see it too. Mike, we got you on Bills Jags.
Jags, because I don't know any different. All I know is heartache from this damn team. And look, I think you guys have made me feel better about it. But I'm hoping that I jinx myself. But I just think the Jaguars, the matchup on paper, bottom line, Jags have the horses that we don't, and I think they're at home. And those few losses early on in the season really screwed the Bills going on the road. So I'm going to take the Jaguars.
I'm going Bills on this one. And I think I understand why you're saying Jags, and the Jags being the hottest team in the league definitely makes it tough to pick the Bills here. But I think it's way too early in January for me to count out Josh Allen. And you mentioned earlier how him now playing angry, coming off of that loss to the Eagles. I think the streak stops at 8.
I love that a lot.
All right. I know it's not the Chargers, but if the Bills go up 27, does anyone get scared about the Trevor Lawrence going to Waffle House later, coming back for a win?
Yeah.
I am going to take the Jags in this one as well. The Bills on the road, Jacksonville's playing really good. But like I mentioned, the 8-game win streak, the momentum, did they peak by winning the division? You saw the locker room celebration giving Trevor Lawrence the grills, which was great and all kinds of fun. But it reminded me a little bit of last year when Sam Darnold had his big win and they were dumping water on him. And it was like, what are we celebrating for? And how do they respond?
I like it.
So I think this one's going to be one of the better games of the weekend.
I like it a lot.
Me too.
And
Going
one more thing. I think Mike will appreciate this. There, in some alternate universe, I really want the Bills Chargers to make the AFC Championship game, so we can get one more game at Highmark Stadium.
Oh God, yeah, I didn't bring that up because we weren't talking about it, but yeah, amongst Bills fans and on Bills radio, they've been talking about how it could that's the only way we could have one more game at Highmark. It would have to be the Steelers or the Chargers, and I don't.
No, it's just the Chargers.
Is it just the Chargers? Okay, yeah, that would be. Oh, please, give me the California boys in the snow in Buffalo at the last game. Nobody's winning that game against Buffalo. It's just not. It can't. It just can't happen. It's science at that point.
If it does happen, everyone's going to look at me like that was destiny calling that whole playoffs on that side of the bracket.
I had a whole scenario worked out. I posted it on my socials in the beginning of the season where I realized I was like, the Bills could beat the Chiefs finally in the playoffs in the last game at Highmark Stadium to go to the Super Bowl. It would be the most storybook. Obviously, it didn't work out. But I'll take this. I'll take Cody's scenario in a heartbeat.
Well, we're going to see if any of us pick the Chargers shortly, but next game on the slate's 49ers Eagles. I picked the Eagles in this one because I think the 49ers banged up defense isn't going to be able to keep up with the Eagles offense, even though it's been struggling, because they're going to come out there and be able to pound the rock on them.
I went with the 49ers. This Eagle offense has been bad all year. I don't think they're going to turn it around. They're going to go through spurts. I mean, even look at the Buffalo game. Looked really good in the first half. Had 7 yards in the second half? Like they aren't consistent. I think 49ers, like the Packers-Bears game, like this is the Super Bowl joke that's been made. 49ers want finally revenge for the Brock Purdy gets hurt, taking their Super Bowl away from them. So they think, well, that's a different conversation for a different day. But the Eagles have just been struggling. I know they're getting Lane Johnson back. That's going to be a big boost, but I went with the 49ers.
Yeah, I too have got the 49ers, which, wow. Being a guest on a podcast 101, make sure you pick against both hosts' teams. How dare I?
Yep.
No, I've got the 49ers. I'm going off of what I just saw with the Eagles against the Bills. They absolutely could not get anything going in the second half. And as banged up as the 49ers are, I told you earlier that when I go player to, match up players to players, and then the next thing I go to is coach to coach, and just Kyle Shanahan, I don't know how that team has won 11 or 12 games or whatever it is on how banged up they are. And the only way they did that was because of Kyle Shanahan. And so I think Kyle Shanahan gets them over the edge. They just had a bad loss that they're coming off of. Got a bad taste in their mouth. I think they handle the Eagles in their house, unfortunately. Sorry, George.
No, honestly, this might be the most toss-up game of the weekend. So
if Barkley was running, if the run game was going, it'd be a different story. But
I mean, I might be the delusional homer who's sitting here thinking the run game's going to flip a switch.
It might.
I will cite that Lane Johnson's record, the Eagles' record with Lane Johnson in versus out, is a major difference, and I think that's the X factor.
You know what? I'm not going to change it, but I forgot Lane Johnson was going to be back. That's a huge deal, but I'll stick with it.
All right. Chargers, Patriots. Mike, are you going to flip to the Chargers?
I am. I'm realizing that, yes, it might have to do with, there's two things I hate in this world: pedophiles and Boston sports fans. So that I'm sure that's part of it. But I'm kidding. I don't hate pedophiles. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, Jesus Christ. No, I obviously don't like the Patriots, but I have done nothing but praise them before the season started. During the season, I think they're a good team. We don't know what playoff Drake May looks like. And I just think if the Chargers can protect Herbert, I just think they have the better roster, and they have, I don't want to say a better coach than Vrabel, but a more seasoned coach who all he does is know how to win in these moments. So I'm going to take the Chargers by just a little bit because, as you said earlier, I think the Patriots are a year early. That's all.
Well, Mike, I have some good news for you.
Oh,
you went 1 for 3 on picking with the co-host favorite team. Because if you didn't know,
I'm a Chargers fan. I don't know what you're talking about.
George is a Chargers fan. He charades as an Eagles fan. So you picked your team. So George is a Chargers fan. You picked his team. George, I'm not. I think the Patriots are going to win this game.
I feel like my whole life is a lie now. What?
I'm a Chargers fan. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know how you're throwing that up there, but that's hilarious.
It literally doesn't help. I said that the first day in my new home studio, and there's nothing in the background yet. My background's Eagles stuff. Oh. But it looks even worse because I'm wearing a blue shirt with nothing in the background.
Yeah, and the guy who's a barber is going to be mad because I think you're clean shaven there too.
Oh yeah, this is only as of like a month and a half.
Okay. All right.
So George, are you picking your team?
Yeah.
I am not. I am picking the Patriots in this one. I just don't think the Chargers are going to be able to protect Herbert, and I don't have faith that we're not going to see 4-pick playoff Herbert.
It's fair.
Yeah. All right. Did you even pick, Cody? I don't remember.
Yeah, I said I'm not. I'm picking the Patriots.
Patriots, yeah.
Okay, cool. I missed that part because I was too busy trying to ignore your drop. So, Texans at Steelers last game on the docket. Cody, you can go.
All right. So, like we mentioned at the top, there's not much hope for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this Texans defense is going to be after Aaron Rodgers. I would like to see Aaron Rodgers win. I don't like the Steelers, but I'd like to see Aaron Rodgers win. And maybe they can win their 24th consecutive home Monday Night Football game. Why we have that as a stat, I don't know. But I think that trend ends, and I'm going with the Houston Texans.
Me?
Sure. I mean, honestly, I'm just going to say Texans as well. I just don't think the Steelers are a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I am scared for Aaron Rodgers. I am going Texans all the way. I'll tell you this, maybe I should have thrown this in the if the Steelers want to win the Super Bowl, I would not get out of their jumbo package. I would stay in there because they have humongous Darnell Washington, I think that's his name, right? Yeah. I don't know who looked at him and went, "You're going to be a tight end." The dude's built like a defensive tackle.
Bad news for you. He broke his arm a few weeks ago. He's not even playing.
Oh God! Well, they're toast. Because I was going to say they just max protection, stay in the jumbo package, but it's Texans all day.
Yeah. No, you're right. Like max protection and run 2 routes and hope they get open. That's honestly gonna
Yeah,
probably
just
be
get
the
the
way to
ball
go.
out.
Get the ball out in the flat to Kenny Gainwell 20 times.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Do either of you want to volunteer to have your bracket put up first here as we're going to reveal? We just revealed who we picked for the wild card round. We're going to reveal who we have for the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm sure. Go ahead. I don't care.
All right.
I ain't scared. That's it.
Walk through.
And I'll add a little caveat to that. If the Bills beat the Jaguars, I will switch and put the Bills in the Super Bowl with the Rams. I think whoever wins that game goes in the AFC. And the reason is I think the toughest matchup the Bills are going to face in the playoffs for the Bills would be the Jaguars. So if they can get through the Jaguars, I think they can get through the rest.
So you have Jaguars versus Rams. Rams getting through the NFC to the Super Bowl and winning.
And just pound for pound, minus the last few weeks, I just think I think they've been the best team in the NFL all season long. If you had to pick, at moments it seemed like they were in their own tier, and then there's moments where they kind of came down a little bit, and you're like, I still think they're one of the best teams. But at the end of the day, the way Stafford's playing, you got Coach McVay, pound for pound. I think the Rams represent the NFC.
All right, Cody, putting yours up here next. Beanie's
the
coming
cat.
across the screen again.
Yeah,
Love them.
Beanie wanted to make her playoff prediction.
Yeah.
So like Mike, I'm taking, which is a great movie, by the way, the Rams in the Super Bowl over the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is my official prediction. Like I said, obviously my dreams, desires would be the Packers making it all the way. I would really love to see them beat the Bears, beat Seattle, beat Philadelphia, and just go on a redemption tour. But I'm realistic. A lot of injuries in there. They're going to beat Chicago. We'll see what happens in Seattle. Nothing ever great happens in Seattle for the Packers, but that's a different conversation for a different day. But yeah, I like the Rams, and it'll be cool to see Devontae get a ring.
Absolutely.
And completely unprompted, it's a Rams sweep here in house. Big difference here. I have the Bills beating the Jags and making that run, kind of like you said over there, Mike.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I also, since I had the Packers winning, losing in Seattle, my bracket is almost like a mix of your two, I think. But it's crazy that completely unprompted, I guess the guy in an inexperienced playoff field that we have the most faith in is Matt Stafford.
Just bring that
so.
Airstream with them.
And truth be told, for whoever's watching or listening, we did not discuss this at all. Like, these are we did our brackets on our own. So,
No, for sure.
Yeah, I like it.
I really like that your AFC and NFC championship are both divisional matchups. You got Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
Bills.
Seahawks, Rams, Patriots, Bills would be
Bills.
crazy weekend.
That would be I could not emotionally handle that. I mean, like the Bears with the Packers, like playing the Patriots would be its own Super Bowl. Boy, I would love a Bills Packers one though. Just like a real small market blue collar type. Oh, that'd be great too.
They'd have to move that game somewhere where there is snow. They couldn't be in California.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there somewhere in Canada that has a football stadium that's outdoor?
Sure, we'll play in the CFL where the field goal posts are in the front of the end zone. Did you know that Josh Allen has only the only place he hasn't played yet is in San Francisco, and that's where the Super Bowl is? Little fun fact.
This
It's the only-
sounds like faith to me as well.
Yeah, it's the only stadium he hasn't played in yet, which is crazy to me.
All right.
Thank you, Mike. This has been great.
Dude,
I
listen,
loved every bit of this conversation.
I want to thank you guys for having me. It meant so much that you invited me, and I have been so excited to do this. I have my own, podcast. My boss was like, we have Good News York, and then he said, I want you to start a sports podcast on the side, Good News York Sports. And I'm building it, but right now it's just me, unless I have a guest. It is so nice to be on screen with people that I can interact with and talk football with. So thank you so much for having me. And I'm sorry for all the technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on here, but I got to get it figured out.
No worry about it. We can't thank you enough for hopping on, and we'll make sure we drop all the links to your show and stuff like that in the description.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
you can. No, I was just gonna say you can. My social handles down there, but Good News York is at Good News York and goodnewsyork.com. It's Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern. And then GNY Sports, Good News York Sports airs once a week. The day changes, but that you can also find episodes at Good News York for that as well.
George, final last words.
Looking forward to a good playoffs. Thank you again, Mike. It's been great. I'm looking forward to having you on again. Maybe if the Bills get into that big game, we'll bring you back on so you can talk about how Josh Allen got him there.
Oh my God. I would love that. I am going to get this thing dialed in. I need to figure out what's going on here. And I promise you, anytime you guys want to have me on, I'd love to. I had so much fun.
Awesome. Yep. Always welcome here. But that will wrap up a longer than usual edition, but it was a great conversation.
My fault.
No, it's great. We had a great time talking football. So, make sure you follow the Couch GMs on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, all those good places. And we are still live twice a week, Mondays, Thursdays, 6:30 Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Hopefully a good week of playoff games, and we'll be back next week breaking it all down. We'll talk to you all then.